Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fridays with Fran, and today we are looking at our Highland cows, including Prince here and his brand new son. We got Prince just over a year ago and he came as a baby, so junior. He's now getting towards being fully grown, but he's been busy at work, and last week his firstborn calf was here at the farm park. So the mum was Ruby, she's a ginger one, and of course Prince is black, which is quite unusual, and the little calf is a chocolate colour, which is quite exciting. So it's a bit ironic, but I'm stood here in a field with a bull with huge horns and three cows, one of which that's got a calf, and the thing that we're most afraid of is the turkey, and I'm carrying a stick just to keep prodding him off because I do not trust him not to scratch and peck my legs. We love making these videos, so if you could drop us a like and subscribe to the channel, that would be fantastic. And if there's anything you particularly want us to cover, then drop it in the comments below and we'll look at that in the future episodes. So this is Rosanna coming up behind me. She's currently pregnant with a calf. She'll be due a little bit later. Again, another of Prince's calves. So it'll be interesting what colour that one comes out as. You're a proud daddy, aren't you, boy? So now we'll head over and find Ruby and her little calf who's tucked just behind her. Over here. Behind us is Ruby's little calf. He is a boy and he's 10 days old now. And as you see, chocolate in colour, a little bit darker than his mum. And he was born in a hailstone out here in this paddock, so a hailstorm, so not ideal. And normally Highland cows, they're really tough, really hardy. They live up on the moors and the Highlands, and they will be outside all year round, but we're a bit soft here and we felt sorry for him. So once he was born out here in the field, caught us all a little bit off guard. We weren't expecting him quite that early. He was then popped in a trailer and him and his mum went back up to the farm, and they spent the first night in a barn before coming back out here the next day, which was a nice sunny day, so quite happy. And he's been outside ever since. Ruby, a proud mum, so this is her second calf that she's had here on the park. And she's a daughter of our old bull Archie, as are the other two cows in here, so they're all half sisters. And she's been a fantastic mum, very quiet. Highlands can often be quite protective, so you have to be a bit wary, but right from the start she's been really quiet and happy for us to be around her calf, which is lovely. So the little calf here, he is a boy and we've castrated him, so he's now a steer, not a bull, and we've done that for a few reasons. There's quite a lot of Highland cows around the country and a lot of bulls about, and so there's not a huge demand for them, and we don't want to keep a bull if he's not going to have a home for breeding, and he's not exactly the top quality genetics. Prince is fantastic, but the mum isn't one of the strongest of our cows. And a reason for that is a bull can be quite territorial, quite hormonal, so they're a little bit more dangerous to work with. So by having him castrated, if he's going for meat, that's a lot safer for us. It's also a lot easier to house him. He can be housed with all the other cows, all the other bulls quite safely. Often bulls can fight a little bit and you have to keep them individually. So if we don't plan on keeping them for a breeding bull, we generally do castrate them. So some of our best calves will be kept entire and they'll be sold to other breeders, particularly with our Albions and our Gloucesters. They're very rare breeds. The Highlands aren't quite so rare and we don't have the best in the country. So at the moment we're not keeping all of our bulls entire, but the very best we will. So when we say an entire bull, it's a bit of a farmer lingo, and that means one that's not been castrated, so he's still got his testicles there. To castrate them before a week old, we just put a little rubber band round and that cuts off the blood circulation, and therefore he won't be able to have babies, and it'll also mean he'll hopefully be a much nicer character going forward. Having said that, Prince is an entire bull and a daddy, and we're very lucky, very calm and very friendly, but that's not always the case. With the bulls that we do raise, which is particularly at the moment our Albions and our Gloucesters, they take a lot more looking after. They need an awful lot more food. The testosterone running around means that they burn energy more quickly, so they need more food to grow big and strong, and we'll only be able to sell them as a bull if they look good. People aren't going to want to buy one if it's scrawny and small, never mind its genetics. Their appearance is also quite important. They also have to be housed separately as a little group, which means they take up their own pen, their own bay, and we don't have that huge amount of space for lots and lots of bulls here on the farm. If you are especially breeding bulls, you might have lots and lots of stalls especially for that, but we've just got a couple of places that we can keep young bulls. On top of our 10-day-old little Highland calf, this morning we had exciting news that we've got a little Gloucester bull calf that was born overnight, so we'll go and see him now. Tucked down here we have our brand new little bull calf, just a few hours old, and he's quite remarkable. So his dad was born here on the farm in 1973, so an awful long time ago, considering a cow's lifespan is 18-20 years. And back then, Joe, Adam's dad, collected semen from this bull called Bembra Hopeful. And that semen has been stored in a freezer, and we're now using it on our cows. And so his dad lived back in the 70s and now having calves stillborn today, so amazing technology. So she was AI'd to Bembra Hopeful, and we've got this amazing little calf down here. So the Gloucesters are a breed that back in the 70s are incredibly rare, and they got down to just one herd remaining, which was incredibly frightening, and that's why Joe thought it's so important to collect semen to try and preserve the breed, because if they'd gone extinct, that semen was still there in the pot. Fortunately, their numbers have gradually increased, and there are several herds across Gloucestershire now still breeding them, and they're known for their use of their milk in single and double Gloucester cheese. They're a dual purpose breed, so good for meat and for milk, but as farmers over the last 100 years have been pushed to be more and more profitable and make more and more in order to make a living, our dairy animals have become far more milky and our beef animals have become far more meaty, and a breed like the Gloucester that was good at both has fallen through a gap in the middle, which is why their numbers dropped so low. They have done fairly well, although in the last couple of years their numbers in the breeding have slightly dropped, and last year only 4 bulls were registered, which is a bit worrying. But hopefully this little fella will be a breeding bull in the future. Gloucesters are, as I say, still incredibly rare, and that's why we'll probably keep him as an entire bull, and his genetics will be really important in saving the breed. There's also some efforts to try and spread Gloucesters around the country. An awful lot of them are here in Gloucestershire, and there's quite a lot of TB in the Gloucestershire area. So the Rare Breed Survival Trust are looking at getting some bulls moved up north into areas where there's less TB to try and save the security of the breed. A Gloucester is always a sort of dark reddy brown colour, sometimes almost look black with their winter coats, but you can see here in the sun they've got that red tinge to them. They're brown all over, but they've got a really distinctive white tail that starts just above their hips and will run down to the tip, and then they have small little horns on their heads. So unlike our Highlands who have great big horns, the Gloucester just have these short creamy coloured horns with a little black tip right on the end. In the next 7 days, our little fella will need to have tags put in his ears, just like his mum, and that's a legal requirement and all about traceability on farm. So have a tag put in each ear, and other than that, he won't be castrated, so he will live out here in the farm, in the fields, and then about 6-7 months time he'll be weaned from his mum and he'll go off into a group with calves just his age, and then he'll have a specific diet requirement for young cows as opposed to the adult and the breeding mums. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Fridays with Fran. The Soay sheep naturally molt their food.